What's up, guys? This is another live role play call, and the reason we have these calls is so that you can make your job easier. The point of these calls is bringing on the top of the top agents that are just killing it at this game, protecting tons of families so that you can learn what they are saying and copy and repeat. I have a goddess of telesales on today, and I'm just so excited and grateful that she's joining us, Miss Erika Walker. How are you doing today?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to have you too, and excited to learn from you. I'm always trying to learn. I've been in the business for 12 years, and every single time I do these interviews, there's always something I pick up and learn to improve my skill set and go out there and serve more people. So thanks for joining us. All right, got some quick questions for you. How long have you been in the business for?
I've been at FFL for 7 months.
7 months, okay. And then when you first started, was it easy or hard?
It was a little bit of a transition. I was at a previous company for 1.5 years, so I felt like I kind of knew the industry a little bit, but FFL was different. It was a different platform of how we ran our lead, worked the leads, ran the appointments. So definitely I struggled for a couple of weeks.
And how long did it take you before you wrote your first policy?
I wrote my first policy that week, pretty much right away.
Nice. Okay. And then what was what's your record? Okay. So record amount of families you protected in a month?
Last month I submitted, since we can't really see all the official numbers, I submitted about 72 families protected last month.
72 families, guys. Wow.
Yeah.
So pay attention. If you just heard that, this is going to be recorded and you want to go back and watch probably 40 times, shower with it, sleep with it, have it on repeat, and just learn and copy and repeat. So that's incredible. How about your record week?
35.
35? Wow, you are the goddess of telesales. So thank you for joining us. All right, so then it all starts with having numbers in our corner, right? So how much 100%. Are you investing? How much are you investing in your business to get in front of enough people per week?
Honestly, I go for pretty big weeks. So I say I spend about $2,500 on leads each week.
That's all it is, guys. So the people out there like, hey, how does she get these record numbers? I don't get it. I'm only spending like $100 a week, and I don't know how I'm not making the amount of money that Erika is. Well, it's simple, guys. Buy more leads, buy more people to talk to, and you'll make more money. So right there, $2,500 a week. She slowly upped it. And I'm guessing when you first started, Erika, you probably couldn't put $2,500 a week into your business, right? But every time you made sales, you reinvested back into your business and slowly ramped up to get to yourself to a record of 72 families protected and served. That's incredible. Wow. All right. So I want to ask you a good question because you just started. You probably made some mistakes when you first started. What's the biggest mistake that new agents make coming on?
I think the biggest mistake is the leads, is not investing. I was really afraid, honestly, to invest in leads. I came from a company where we didn't have to, so I wasn't really used to that. And I would find myself like trying to squeeze the most out of the leads. And I honestly was just hurting myself. So now, I know everybody gets to that point where they're like, oh, I think I could work these leads for another day or two, but you're really just hurting yourself. Like if you just buy the leads and reinvest and be smart with your money. That's another thing too. I tell all my agents like, hey, just if you have a big deposit, like don't go pay off all your debt. Don't think you're rich, right? Like pay your bills, but you need to make sure that you have money to reinvest, like be smart about it.
Yep. Be a smart business owner. Okay. What do you think separates the people that are failing at this business, besides the leads, failing this business versus the people that are succeeding?
Work ethic and consistency. I think that this is a numbers game, really. Like I'm not a salesperson. I'm really honestly nothing special. I show up every day. I'm on Zoom every day by 7:30, whether I protected, 5, 10 families a day before or 0. Like I'm consistent. I set a schedule and I follow that and I put in the work. That's pretty much why.
And consistency, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not what we do for the day or the week, but as long as we're consistent, the month always averages out, correct?
100%. Yep.
Awesome. So let's get some role play, guys. Again, this is something you guys want to go back, listen to over and over again. If you like the way that Erika is presenting to her clients, it's pretty simple, guys. Watch it 40 times, copy and repeat, practice, record yourselves, see if you sound like Erika, and then call your manager, do some role play. And I think that's something that you pointed out that's really, really huge, is that you don't have to be alone in this business. We have lots of different Zoom workrooms that you can join and watch other people, help protect families, and then also get feedback from top leaders of what you can do and say differently. So the key is work ethic, is being on Zoom and working with your team, calling your mentor and asking for advice, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, so what kind of leads are you buying?
I do internet leads,
Okay,
leads,
and these
instant
are
and
just
1 month.
wow. Okay. Now, what's the difference between an instant and 1 month, and why should you buy one or the other?
I honestly like both of them. I think that the 1 month you're gonna get, a lot of agents will think that it's like a negative side when they say that they have a policy already. I think it's like a challenge, and I know with our rates and what we have available, you can 9 out of 10 put the client in a better situation. So I love working those. And then the instants are great because it's, they're fresher, they're right away. So I every lead, I work honestly every lead, to be honest. I've gone through batches of leads that I've had for a few months that I haven't worked there, just sitting there, and I'll make a sale off those.
All right. And then real quick before we get into role play, if I did say, hey, Erika, I already got a policy, what would you say?
I'd say, okay, perfect. Well, I'm just the underwriter assigned to your case, just to make sure that the agent got you set up with the best policy. Which one of our carriers did you go with?
And then go from there and try to beat
Yep.
it out. Now, what if they already have what if they have a policy you can't beat? What do you do?
I really tone in on like the living benefits that, some of our companies that we work with have. So I think the biggest thing of, if you can't put them in a better situation financially, put them in a better situation with the benefits of the policy. So I've been able to switch policies that's even more expensive, but some of them have a 2-year waiting period. And do your research, honestly, on the companies that are out there that FFL isn't contracted with. I think that that's a huge advantage. A lot of those companies that are cheap, like they have waiting periods, or it's a graded policy. And so not knowing what else is out there, you're doing yourself a disservice, because when somebody calls me and they say they have X company and we don't work with, and I know that company, I go, well, hey, that's actually per unit, or hey, that's actually a graded policy. It takes 4 years to get that full death benefit. Well, for $5 more, I can get you living benefits and you're covered today. So knowing your stuff is really important.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So you're doing one call closes, or you're setting appointments?
One call closes all day.
And then what's your schedule typically? When do you get up and start dialing?
So I get up at 5 every morning. I like having my time and stuff in the mornings, and then I'm on Zoom by 7:30. I do a half-hour admin work stuff, and then I'm dialing by 8 o'clock.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's role play this and give us an example.
Perfect.
Is it okay if I go a little hard on you so people can see how I respond to rebuttals?
Shoot, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. All right. Well, hey, I'm excited here. You guys better get some notes ready. If you're a smart businessman or businesswoman, you will take some notes. All right. So ring, ring, hello.
Hi, Ryan.
Yeah, this is Ryan.
Hi, Ryan. My name's Erica. I'm just calling from the Benefit Center in regards to the request that you filled out on some information on life insurance. Looks like you listed your date of birth here as 10/3/95. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think I filled that out. I think you're the wrong person.
You're not Ryan Reynolds?
Oh, yeah, but I don't remember filling anything out.
Okay, well, hey, if you're anything like me, I don't remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. So this will only take about 10 minutes or so. I'll make it super quick for you. If you just want to grab something to write with real quick, we can just get this taken care of.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm actually interested anymore.
Hey, I'm honestly not really interested in either, but this is my job. It's a state regulated form. So we do just have to get your file closed out. So I just have to give you the information. Whatever you decide to do with that, that's up to you.
Okay. All right, let me try to find a pen. How long is this going to take? Because I do have
About
to
10 minutes. The quicker you
Oh.
find a pen, the quicker we can get to it.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. All right, I got a pen.
Perfect. Okay, so I want you to write down some of my information. My name's Erika Walker. My state license number is 123456. Okay, so now with that number, you can go to the Department of Insurance and just look me up. They do require us to give that to you. Okay. So now, have you been shopping around for some coverage for a while, or am I the first person that you've been able to talk to?
I looked into a while back, but just ended up not getting a policy. So.
Okay. Was it because you just couldn't afford it, or they didn't put you with the best company, you didn't see enough value?
I just end up not pulling the trigger. Yeah, I think they said I could qualify, but I just said I need to think about it. And then I think I never called the guy back or something.
Okay. Well, this will be super easy for you then, since you kind of know the process, how it works. I'm a broker, and like a lot of people you talk to. So I have access to actually all the companies that you could possibly get within your state. Okay. So it's kind of like the Expedia of life insurance. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask you some medical questions. I'm going to put your information into our system, and then that's going to give me an idea of a company that you'd have a good chance of getting qualified with, that's going to give you the best rate that's available. Okay. So do you have a history of anything current, like heart attack, cancer, strokes?
Yeah, I did have a heart attack about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Strokes, no, nothing like that.
Okay. No, any other like major health issues that you think of? COPD, diabetes?
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, I have diabetes as well.
Okay. Are you insulin or just pill form?
Insulin.
Insulin. Okay. Are you taking any other medications for anything?
Yeah, I take meprazole, and then two depression medications.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So give me 1 sec. And then typically people fill out this request for one of three reasons. One, they just want like their burial and final arrangements taken care of. Two, they want to cover mortgage or bills, things like that. Or three, leave some money behind. Which one was it for you?
It's going to be just making sure that my funeral is covered, and leaving some money behind if it's affordable. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get it today though. So just so
Okay.
you know, I don't really make decisions right away. Okay.
Well, that's okay. Unfortunately, you can't just buy life insurance. You do have to qualify for it. Okay. Now, are you currently working at all?
No, I'm retired. I'm 65, so retired.
Perfect. Okay. And so you're getting some retirement from the state, I assume?
Yeah, I get some Social Security, and then I have a small pension.
Perfect. Okay. Now, does that get deposited into a checking account or a direct express?
It goes into a checking.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So give me 1 second. I'm just going to put your information into our system, and then that's going to kind of give me some options. Now say something happened to you, Ryan, like yesterday. Who would be taking care of all of your arrangements and everything today?
That's gonna be my kids, I think. I hope
Your
so.
kids. Okay. Now, are they in the financial situation to be able to pay $30,000 for your burial and all of the costs that associate with it?
I didn't know it cost that much. I mean, can't they just bury me in the backyard?
I wish, unfortunately, but it doesn't work like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I was gonna be cremated. I mean, how much does that cost?
Okay, well, cremation's a little bit cheaper, but I like to tell people that, there's a lot of things that people don't take into consideration about the end times. A lot of times you end up in a hospital racking up hospital bills. So there's a little bit, even though cremation is a little cheaper, there is still a little bit more to it. Okay.
Okay.
So I assume that you kind of want to get this taken care of, and so that your kids don't have to have that burden on them of where they're going to come up with that money, right?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the cost.
Yep. Okay. So I want you to go ahead and write some options down on that piece of paper. I want you to write down 30,000, and then I want you to write down 20,000, and then 15,000.
Okay, written down.
Okay. So luckily you're still in the age where you can where you can still qualify for this. Okay. This is called a whole life policy. Okay. So it's one of our most popular types of coverages. It's going to go your entire life. So a lot of other policies, they'll stop at a certain age, or that it can be taken away from you. Okay. Regardless of health issues. This one actually goes until you pass away, and no one can ever take it away from you. Your premium's never going to go up. Okay. And the nice thing is it has a lot of living benefits to it. And it has a built-in cash value. So I like to tell people like, hey, it's kind of like a forced savings account, but you're being smart with your money. You're not blowing your money each month. You're actually putting that in, and it's earning interest rate. Okay. So now I'm not sure if we can get you qualified. Okay. So I'm going to give you three options though. So for 30,000 of coverage, now this is kind of like our gold program. Okay. I know you want to be cremated. So this is going to take care of all your cremation, all your medical bills that you have, and it's actually going to leave some money behind for your kids. Okay. Now the $20,000 option, this is our silver program. Okay. So this is a program, it's going to cover all your cremation, your final arrangements, maybe have a little money for your kids, but I'm not sure, depending on your cost of your medical bills. Okay. And then the 15,000, this is our starter program. Okay. This is for people that are on a tight budget, that live paycheck to paycheck. This is just something that, so you're making sure that the bare minimum is taken care of and that you're not being irresponsible and leaving that burden on anybody else. Okay. So out of those three options, now, which one would you want to try to qualify for to leave behind to your kids?
And then did you give me the cost?
Oh, I did. No, I didn't.
How much do they
Like, I know
cost?
I'm missing something. Okay, so I want you to write down the 30,000. Next to 30,000, it's going to be $300 a month. Next to 20,000, I'm going to have you write down $200 a month. And then next to the 15,000, that's $150 a month. Okay, so not sure if you can qualify. Okay, but if we could get you qualified, which one of those coverages do you want to leave behind to your kids? The 30,000, the 20,000, or the 15,000?
Is it possible to get the 30,000 for the $15,000 price?
I wish. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. I mean, maybe if you were like 10 years younger, but unfortunately
Oh,
not.
so you're saying as I get older, it costs more, huh?
It does. Yep.
Uh,
So the rate that it's important to get a rate locked in today, so that, because the price is just going to keep increasing as you're getting older.
I could probably afford the 20,000 is probably what I can afford right now.
Okay. And that's comfortable for you each month?
Yeah, that should work.
Okay, perfect. So give me 1 second. I'm just going to pull up the application. It only takes a couple minutes. And then I just do that.
All right. So you're pulling up the application. So take me through it so that we get to the part of the banking.
Okay.
What do you mean I have to give my banking account information? I thought I guess get it qualified first. Why do I have to give my banking information out?
Yep. So this is part of the application. So it's for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's the account that your payment's going to come out of each month, so that you never have to worry about really making a bill and that you don't lose your coverage. And two, they're going to make sure that you actually have a valid US checking account. Believe it or not, a lot of money laundering happens in life insurance. So that's something just they have to verify that you have a valid checking account too. So who did you say you banked with?
Wells Fargo.
Okay.
I just feel a little uneasy giving out, my information over the phone to someone that, I just started talking to, for a scammer. I'm not sure if I should give it out.
Hey, I completely understand. With that license number that I gave you, you can actually go on real quick to the Department of Insurance and look me up and see that I am a valid and active insurance agent. And the numbers on your routing and account number that's on the bottom of your check, that's meant to be passed around. Like you write checks to Girl Scouts, things like that. What you don't want to pass around is your debit card number, because you want to keep that confidential. That you want to make sure that you just don't give away that your checking account is something that you're meant to be passed around.
Wow, that was killer. drop a goddess in the comments below. Look at this one, just destroying it. Everything I'm throwing out are destroying it, guys. So when you go, man, no one can be closed, check that out. Okay, you got me. I'm giving out. I'm trying
to. You said to be quick with these. I'm trying to go quick. Sorry.
You're doing great. Doing great. Okay, cool. You got me. I'm throwing out my checking now. You just made me feel dumb. Okay, I'm gonna go back and watch this like 20 times. Jesus, you are the goddess of telesales. Okay, all right, cool. Checking account's done. Gave it out. Boom. It came back. You're on Americo. What are we writing? Americo
Yep,
Eagle?
Americo. Mm-hmm.
Came back declined. Now what do we do?
Okay, Brian. So looks like I found a company that you'd have a good chance of qualifying for. And then I literally enter their information into Aetna.
Okay, Aetna got declined. Now what are we doing?
Then when the second decline, then I'm kind of honest with them. I'm like, hey, unfortunately, it looks like I'm kind of having a tough time getting you qualified. Is there anything else that you can think of in your medical history that is going to be coming up? Anything at all? No. Okay. So give me 1 second. The good thing about being a broker is I have multiple different options. So I'm going to run you through another company. And then the third time around, I can normally get them qualified.
And then are you going on like the AIG? Or are you going with like American Amicable? Or?
I go AmAm. So I go Americo, Aetna, AmAm, and then AIG.
Nice. Yep, those are my favorites. You know, American Amicable is usually the most lenient, which is kind of interesting. But the nice thing is it doesn't tell you immediately approval. Americo, you're going to find out with the information on that first text message code that if they're approved or if you got to switch to the next one.
So switching from Americo to Aetna should be super simple. Like sometimes people make it a big deal, like you got declined. Now, with that being said, at the very end, if they get approved for Aetna, I will tell them, hey, I did put your information into Americo and they didn't approve you. So you will get a letter in the mail saying that they're not going to approve you. Don't be alarmed. I got you approved with Aetna. So this is your company, but I do let them know because Americo does send them a letter in the mail, and some clients have gotten confused with that.
All right. Okay. So now we got approved. How do we close it down?
So I say, okay, perfect. So, I didn't need to, okay, perfect, John. So congratulations. It looks like you are approved for coverage. I want you to go ahead and write down, I'm going to give you my information. Okay. My direct line. It's my personal cell phone number. I give out to all my clients. Okay. Is 503. I give my phone number. And then I give them the policy, the company that they're with. Your policy is through Americo. Okay. I'm going to write down your policy number. It's AM blah, blah, blah. And you're covered for $25,000 of coverage for $250 a month. Okay. And that payment that is going to come out within 2 to 3 business days. So just keep a lookout for that. Okay. And then you're going to get your policy packet in the mail within about 2 weeks. Okay. So now if you get any other calls or anything like that, just let them know that you got it taken care of and call me if they try to do anything with your policy. Okay. So I'm your insurance agent for life. All right. Save my number in your phone. Don't hesitate to call me or text me if you need anything. And then
love it. Killer, killer, killer. Fire emojis. Goddess. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna go back and watch this 20 times. You know why? Because I'm a smart businessman. So you guys should be smart too. Okay. So let's imagine that we got someone that's 35 years old, CRM lead, they're younger. Okay. I'm guessing your intro is exactly the same. And then you pick it up with that question about why we're talking today. So let's pick it up from that 35-year-old, and then let's kind of take them through a life insurance one. Okay. All right.
Okay. So life insurance, you mean if they want like mortgage protection or something?
Yeah, maybe it's just a life insurance lead. They want to leave some money for. Like you're gonna pick up. I'm in the middle of a live call. We have a nurse here that's looking for her cell phone. I did not pick up your cell phone. Okay, I'm just trying to retrace my steps.
Is that grandma?
I'm at my grandma's, visiting my grandma in Wyoming. She's 91.
That's so funny. Hey, work from home, right?
Hey, working, business and family, that's why we do remote. So
there you go.
we live. Okay. All right. That's my mom. My mom came in. That's my mom. And then my 91 grandma.
I love that.
All right, let's get back to business. Yeah.
Okay. So 35. Okay. 35. So typically people fill this out for one of 3 reasons. 1, they're just looking to cover like their burial and final arrangements. 2, they want to cover mortgage or some loans or larger bills. Or 3, they just want to leave some money behind, a chunk of money behind. Which one was it for you?
I'm married. I got my wife with me right now. I guess we're just kind of looking into it, seeing if it was affordable. I'm not sure if we're going to get a policy or not. I just saw the ad, thought I'd look into it.
Okay. So are you wanting to, if you could get approved, which option are you guys looking at? Are you wanting to cover like your mortgage, leave some money behind, like a large amount of coverage, or were you guys just more concerned with just like your burial?
Yeah, just leaving some money behind in case one of us were to pass away.
Okay. Did you have an amount in mind of how much coverage you were looking for, or were you kind of just open to it?
It just depends on the cost, I guess. What do typically people get?
It honestly just depends. Do you guys own a house?
No, we're renting right now.
Just renting. Do you have any large loans or anything like that, debt that you need to pay off?
Actually, let's pretend like we do own a house. Yeah, we live in a house. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then how much is left on your loan?
160,000.
Okay, perfect. And then any other debts, student loans, or anything like that that you guys owe?
Student loan debts. No, actually, and my wife has a nursing school debt of about 60,000.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, in your situation, typically people will just want to cover those larger amounts together and leave some money behind for, you know, their burial. So we'll kind of take that all into consideration. We already went over medical issues. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm just gonna put your information in here and see what company would give you the best rate. Now, if you passed away, let me ask you this, is your wife in the situation you guys are, I assume you guys are both working?
Yeah, we're both working right now. Yeah.
Okay, is she in the situation to be able to make those mortgage payments, or is she going to have to sell the house?
She would probably, I mean, she could still afford it.
But it would be tight.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit tighter.
Okay. All right. And then do you guys have any chunks in savings or anything that like acts as life insurance at all?
I guess we have a work policy. So I think work policies would actually cover us. You know, so I don't know if we actually need this since we both have the work policies.
So that's one thing you don't want to count on is your work. What a lot of people don't understand is 30 days after you retire or leave your job, all those benefits go away. And heaven forbid you were to get really sick while you're still on the job, your employer can actually let you go and you lose all those benefits. So you want to make sure that you have something that's permanent in place so that if, you know, heaven forbid you do lose your job, that you still have your family still protected. Okay. Okay. So I want you to go ahead. And then how long is the loan on your house? Is it like a 15-year, 30-year?
I think we have about 22 years left on it.
22. Okay, perfect. So I want you to go ahead and write down some coverage amounts. Okay. I want you to write down 400,000 and then 350 or do 300, 250.
Okay. Got 400, okay. 300, 250. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So this type of coverage I'm going to get you, it's called a term coverage. It's the most popular type of coverage for people in your age. It's when people are wanting a higher coverage amount to lock in that rate for so many years if they have a mortgage or they have higher debt that they need to cover. Okay. So this option, the 400,000 option, this is going to take care of all of her student loans. It's going to cover your mortgage. And it's going to cover your guys' funeral and burial arrangements. Okay. So on the worst day of your wife's life, she doesn't have to worry about, you know, scrambling, trying to figure out, you know, how she's going to work more when she's trying to grieve, to pay your mortgage and take care of all the debts and stuff. Okay. Because it's hard to go from 2 incomes down to 1 income. Okay. And then the next program is going to be, so that is going to cost about $300 a month. Okay. And then the 300,000 of coverage, this is going to be kind of our middle program. Okay. It's going to cover your house payment, her loans, and it's going to cover burial and final arrangements. Okay. Probably won't have a lot of money left behind, but it will take care of the bulk of what you guys are looking to cover. And then that's going to be $200 a month. Okay. And then the next coverage, the 250, that's just going to be something just as a starter, just to make sure that, you know, when something happens to you, that, you know, the house is primarily taken care of, and to kind of as an income replacement for her so that she has that time to grieve and she's not worrying and scrambling about how to come up with some extra money. Okay. So that's just to have a peace of mind for her. And that's going to be about $100 a month. Okay. Now I'm not sure, just based off the health questions that you told me, if you can qualify, but if we could get you qualified, what did you want to leave behind to your wife?
And you would give these options for both parties, right?
Oh yeah, if you're doing like your husband and wife, I do the same coverage amounts for husband and wife to keep it like simple.
Okay. And then what if the wife wasn't here? Would you reschedule the appointment?
No, I would. So if that was an objection, like, well, I want coverage for myself and my wife isn't here, I go, okay, no problem. So what we'll do is we'll just take care of you today. And then I'll schedule a time to give you a call back this evening when your wife gets home to get her taken care of.
Gotcha. Love it. Okay. So what if I were to say to you, $100. I mean, I don't know if I can even afford that. Do you have anything less expensive?
So let me ask you, what something is within your budget that you can't afford? Because obviously
Probably.
we don't want it to take food off the table for you guys.
Oh, that's a good line. Taking some notes, guys. $60 is probably my max I could probably put in right now.
Okay, perfect. So we actually do have 100,000 of coverage for $80 a month. That's gonna just pretty much take care of the bare minimum.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. And then the rest is the same. Pull out the
Yep.
application, ending's the same, all that stuff. Wow.
So
This
even
was
if they tell me, like, I ask something that I do differently is like, I'm like upfront with them. I'm like, hey, did you have an idea of how much coverage you want? Right? Like, what is something that's in your budget that you can afford? If they have like no idea, right, which is really hard for me to understand, because I can tell, like, if someone came to me, I know if I can afford an extra $100 or not. So a lot of times they're just lying, and that's just kind of like a smoke screen. So then you need to ask more questions about their finances to figure out how much coverage options you want to quote them. But I just asked them, like, hey, what's within your budget? Because you seemed like you knew what you wanted and what was in your budget. And when somebody says $70 or $60, you know that they can afford more, right? So then I never just quote them at what they said. I always go up to more and build that value again with the option I'm quoting them.
Now, one thing I want you guys to kind of take note on here is that, how her tonality, right? The words, words are one thing, but what's the meaning behind the words? And when she's talking with assumption that everyone's going to buy a policy because this is a no-brainer. You can hear it with the way that she presents it. She's not digging into a lot of the need questions, which is my approach, is really finding some need. She's approaching every single call like, I'm going to service you. This is a no-brainer. You need to get this. And she's actually presenting her options. And when she says her price, she's not like, I want it for $200. I want it for $150. She's like, I want for $200. I want for $300. I want for $100. And she's very commanding and assertive about it, like it's a no-brainer, right? So I love the tonality. So please pay attention to that. The way she's presenting it with confidence and assertiveness and assumptive, like everyone buys a policy. On that note, I want you to add to what I was just talking about on that tonality, and what are some tips and tricks that people can use to get themselves in the right headspace?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, number one, like, you need to believe in what you're doing. And when you kind of switch your mindset to, I'm not trying to sell somebody, I'm trying to educate them and protect their family, your tone will get different. I think once you have like a death claim, or once you hear a story about, you called a client and you couldn't get it, or you said you'd call them back right when they wanted to think about it, and then that client passed away, and you're getting a call from that spouse, like, shoot, I wish my wife would have gotten coverage because now I'm trying to scramble how to pay for it. I think your mindset and belief changes. So if you've never experienced that, like, find somebody that has, and connect and use those stories to paint that picture. Because if think of it like, why are we okay with talking about a $300 car payment, right? But we're uncomfortable talking about a $300 life insurance policy. Like, we don't believe in what we're doing. Right. So at the end of the day, like, it's not about your income, your commission off it. It's about protecting that family to make sure on the worst day of their life, like, they don't have to go through what people have experienced. And saying things confidently, and fake it till you make it. Like, just practice saying it. And in your mind, it's really not a big deal. Like, asking for their social, like, is not a big deal. If you make it a big deal, like, that's when people get weird. I've seen agents like, what is going on? Why can't I get this or that? And I listen, I'm like, dude, you're saying the right things, but you're not saying it right.
The
Right. Like,
tonality, the
your
belief behind
tone.
the words. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Your belief. It's like, you make it sound like awkward and like cringy. Like, I wouldn't give you my information over the phone,
Now,
so like, don't be awkward about it.
yeah, and that's hard because we just spent money.
Yeah.
We want to make money, and we go into this thinking that we have to convince people convince them to get life insurance, which is, if that's what your tonality is, or the word, the belief behind the words, then they're going to read that, right? I need to convince these
Yeah.
guys, I need to make money. But you can see the way that she's talking, you can hear the tone, or the meaning behind her words of like, hey, this is important. Everyone buys the policy. Which one do you want? $300, $200, $100, this isn't phasing her at all because she believes in it. And I think that's so amazing. And so take some notes on that tonality. Why do you think it is that agents sometimes mess up when they're dialing and they think they need to convince someone to have life insurance versus asking them what option they want? And what are some tricks that people can do besides believing? Anything else you can add to that to kind of help out some new agents?
The biggest thing is painting a picture and finding their why. Like, I think a lot of times, like the company that I came from, we were huge on, pulling on their heartstrings, or, if somebody called, and I always think of it like, if somebody called me and said what I was saying to them, what would I do? Right. Like, and I think sometimes looking in the mirror and being like, okay, this is what I'm saying. Why am I not getting this result? And then putting yourself in their shoes of like, okay, if somebody said this to me, what would my reaction be? And if somebody called me about life insurance and just asked me, talked about coverage amounts and all the details and gave me options, to be quite honest with you, I would probably not get a policy. But if somebody called me and was like, okay, who's going to be taking care of this if you passed away today? Well, my parents. Okay, are they in that financial situation to take care of? No, not at all. Okay, do you really want that burden to be left on them? Because Erika, accidents happen every day and we don't know what tomorrow holds. So on the worst day of your family's life, your parents' life, you don't want that burden on them, right? Shoot, if someone said that to me, I'd buy a policy that day, right? Like,
damn right.
And a lot of times we don't bring out the why, and we're so focused on tripping up about what product to sell them, what numbers to quote them. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like, ask questions about them, find their why, find out what they need. You're there to service them. So even if you go off the script of asking more questions and feeding into what they're saying, like, that's fine. So I think that's the biggest thing that would help a lot of people, is really just putting it on them, the client, asking the questions and actually giving them something that they need.
Now, you just laid out a bunch of good questions, and in your approach, you were very assumptive and didn't ask me a lot of need questions or why questions. I'm guessing those come up if they're fighting it a little bit, right? You would
honestly,
ask those.
I kind of feel out each situation. So you can kind of tell if a client's walls are up and you need to kind of dig more and paint the picture. Then honestly, and during the application, I spend a lot of time like building rapport with them. So once I kind of am down to business, I find out, oh, I want to make sure my wife doesn't have to, pay off my house or anything like that. Or I find out, oh, I just want like my burial. When I'm getting quotes and stuff, ask them about what would yesterday look like. Right. And then as I'm filling out the application, I'm building more of that like friendly rapport with them, so that it's kind of like at the end, yes, they trust me with giving out their social, their banking, and they're not going to like cancel the policy because now they actually like me as a person too.
And I think that's such a smart move. That's what I do all the time too, is that I go into business right away, because why am I being nice right away? Because that means I need something or want something. And then as I'm going the presentation, we're building up, okay, now we're both getting to know each other. Now I can relax and start saying, how's the weather out there? And start having some conversations, build trust as we go.
Yep.
Now, for the note takers out there, because we didn't catch a lot of those why questions. So grab your notepad. Give me some really good why questions that the agents can be asking their clients to find the need or the why.
So I think, when they want burial, right? Like, do you have anything? Honestly, I keep it really simple with this, to be honest with you. If they want their burial, then I paint the picture. Like I say a lot, like, so if you passed away yesterday, who's taking care of this for you today? So my why is kind of really bringing in who's going to be responsible and who's left behind for them. So asking them, are they local, right? If it's your kids, okay, perfect. Are your kids local? Do they have families? Yes, no. And then ask them, are they financially in a position where they can, fly over here? I didn't go into too much details. We were going quick, but typically I will spend more time with asking those type of questions. And then asking, just go ahead.
But let's just do a quick role play so people get an example of it. Yeah, I guess I'm looking into funeral coverage, and then maybe covering just some extra income to leave if I were to pass. I guess it depends on the price.
Okay. Now, do you have anything that acts as like life insurance or any, are you financially in a position to be able to afford your final arrangements and your funeral and leave some money behind?
Um, and we did the work policy one. I mean, we do have some money saved up in like an annuity and stuff like that I guess they could tap into. So I'm not sure if we need this, but
Okay. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is that money that's tied up in a checking account or an annuity, that's not available right away. And a lot of times it actually will go through probate before it's able to be released to any of the beneficiaries. Versus with life insurance, that's something that's going to pay out right away to them to make sure that all of that upfront cost. So now if you passed away yesterday, who's going to be taking care of all of your arrangements today?
that's a good line. I love that line. It's going to be my kids actually.
Okay. How many kids do you have?
I mean, I have three.
Three. How old are they?
One is 42, 39, and 35.
Okay. Now, do they live local or are they out of state?
They're all out of state. Actually, one of them lives with me right now. One lives with
Okay.
me.
Awesome. Are they married, have kids of their own?
Yeah, I have some grandkids. Not the one that lives with me, but yeah, I got like 4 grandkids.
Oh, that's exciting. So, are they in a position where they can come up with, $30,000, $40,000 to take care of, your funeral arrangements, medical bills, and, pay off the house and stuff like that?
I mean, they do. I mean, yeah, one of my kids is a lawyer, so they have a lot of money, so they could probably take care of it.
But I doubt you'd want to put them in that situation with that money that they've worked so hard to earn for their family to put that burden on them, right?
Damn, that was killer. That was killer. No, you're right. That'd be a bad move. You got me.
That would, you definitely would lose the Father of a Year award.
That's a good joke. I love that one. Okay, good. Uh,
Perfect.
yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to look into it. I'm not sure if I need this now.
Well, you can't really buy life insurance, unfortunately. You do have to qualify for it. So it's up to the insurance company. All we can do today is just submit an application for request for approval. Sometimes I know today right away if you're approved or not. Sometimes it takes a few days. So give me 1 second here. Let me just put some information in your system and see what options that we have.
Awesome. Hey, you're killing it. Hey guys, if you have some questions, please put it in the chat. And then also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please put it in the comments, and we'll be happy to answer all those. I want to ask, what do you do to get people to answer on your CRM leads? Like, what's your dialing schedule? You're dialing 3 times, sending a text message. What's kind of your structure through the day?
Yeah, so I triple dial them morning, evening, and then if I do like a night or a morning, afternoon, and then evening session, if I can get in.
So it's triple dialing 3 times. Are we sending
Yeah.
any text messages or just dialing?
No, I don't send text messages. I just dial. I don't know. I've tried the text message and I just didn't really have that much like traction with it. So I've just stuck to just the dialing. And it works well for my agents. One of my brand new agents, she dialed a lead 12 times yesterday, and on the 12th try they answered and she sold the policy. So
That's awesome.
my point of thing is like the more points of contact that your number can come up and they see on their phone, like you're going to answer. Again, looking at yourself, like if somebody called me 9 times in a day, I would freaking answer that call the 9th time. I'd be like, who the heck is calling me?
Like,
yeah,
who's in
like
jail?
what's going on? Yeah, right. Something like that.
Now, do you use like a dialing platform like phone burner?
Yes. Yep. I
Okay.
use phone
And
burner 100%.
Is it important to have a local number if you're dialing the lead in that state?
Yes, I use a local number as well.
And what if someone answers and they don't have time to talk? They're at work or they're driving or something like that. What do you do?
I will tell them to pull over when they're driving. I just say, hey, well, you answered your phone. Hey, I don't want you to get in a car accident. Go ahead and just pull over real quick. This only takes 10 minutes. If they're at work, again, like they answered their phone, right? So, hey, understand you're at work. Can you take a quick break? This takes about 10 minutes just so that we can get this taken care of for you.
Okay, now with my 12 years experience, I never like to present to one-leggers. And so I want to hear your feedback on that, because what I've noticed, at least for me, is it if I do sell it to the husband, now I'm leaving up to the husband to now sell it to the wife, and he doesn't have the skill set that I have to talk about the value of the policy, and typically I get a lot more chargebacks that way. Can you talk about, why you present to one-leggers and how you present or prevent those chargebacks from happening?
Yeah, so I don't have chargebacks with that. Pretty much what I do, I never let the husband like educate the spouse or vice versa on the policy, right? So I always say, okay, perfect. What time does your wife get home? 5 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to give you a call between 5 and 6, just so that we can go over her options with her to get her a policy. So I never try to let them, and I tell them like, hey, I'll explain to your wife like what coverage you got, just so that we're all on the same page. Like, don't worry, don't try to like explain it all to her. Like, we'll talk about that when we get her a policy as well. And then a lot of times, like, they've talked to their spouse about getting coverage. And if they haven't, then I say, hey, like, if you died today on your way home from work, do you think your wife would be happy or upset that you got this coverage in place? And they're like, well, I think she'd be happy. Okay. You have, if they're more combative, like, let me back up. Like, you don't have any life insurance, right? No. Okay. So if something like accidents happen all the time where we can't control the future, if something happened to you, and then say like, do you think your wife would be happy or sad, right? Or upset at you? And then one of the big things is if I give them the 3 options, they're like, well, I need to talk to my wife first. Like, I don't make any decisions without talking to her. This is one thing that has really, really helped me is I'll say, okay, hey, no problem, Ryan. Like, a lot of people are in that situation. And what most people do in your situation is they just try to get qualified for the starter program. Number 1, just to make sure you have some coverage locked in. And number 2, that you actually have something to talk to your wife about, that you're approved. Because if we put this in and you get denied, then you really don't have anything to talk to your spouse about. So let's just get you started with the introductory plan, and you actually have 30 days to raise coverage without having to apply all over again. So if you guys talk about it and you decide you want a higher coverage amount, I can get that adjusted for you.
And what if they do say the line of, that was excellent, by the way. If they say, actually, I can't make a decision. I do need to talk to my wife about this.
Then I go back to, then I'll say that, hey, I understand, but, like I said, you're not even approved yet. So there really isn't anything to talk to her about, and let me ask you, something happened to you on the way home from work. Do you think she's going to be happy or upset that if you got this coverage? Right. And so I asked them that, and then like it's kind of not a slap in the face question, but it makes them think like, well, okay, yeah, that's a dumb answer if they say yes.
I love that. And the important thing is that she is making sure she's touching base with the wife and solidifying the sale and the coverage and the protection. So that's great. Great questions, guys, coming up here. I have one from Susan. Do you assume the first monthly premium at policy issue or a future date, the monthly premium?
Oh, I assume like the first payment. I say, okay, perfect. Ryan, so your first premium is going to come out of your account within 2 to 3 business days to make sure that your policy is in effect immediately in case anything happened to you. Will the funds be in your account?
Whoa. I thought we were just seeing if I was approved. Yeah. Why do you have to charge me 3 days?
Because if you're approved, we're getting your policy in effect. Because like you said, you want to make sure that if something happens to you, your wife doesn't have to have that burden on her. So we're putting this in place for you today to make sure that that burden isn't on your wife. So will the funds be in your account in 2 to 3 business days?
That was perfect. Yep. If they say no, then we post date it to when it's available.
Yep. And I say, okay, well, do you get paid? Or they're like, I'm on Social Security. I get it next week. Okay, perfect. I can make the exception and, I'll put it for next week, but I don't go, if someone's like, I can't start for 2 months from now, I don't write it up.
Do you think I can just send this YouTube video to my clients and go, hey, watch this and let me know when you're ready to buy?
Right.
Just kidding. Amy says,
that would be nice.
The telesales goddess. Do you use multiple numbers?
Yes. So I use for whatever state I'm dialing, I'll use a number, but I don't switch up your numbers. I think a lot of people like make that mistake of switching up their phone numbers right away. Like, oh, I need to do a new number. Like, you want them to see the same number calling multiple times. Like, you want that to happen. If within every day you're switching numbers, like, you're defeating the purpose of calling them so much. because then they just see a new phone number. So I keep the same number for quite a while.
All right, that was great. Tomorrow says, what do you do for retention? Any special tips to prevent those chargebacks?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest mistake that agents will do, and it's kind of like a new, they want, to get the sale, is they use like, you can just cancel it, right? 30-day free look period. Like, I cringe when one of my new agents was like nervous and said that. And I was like, we don't say that. Like, they're going to cancel, right? When you say like, hey, you have 30 days to, make adjustments, or just cancel the policy if you don't want it. Like, what? So know how to use like that 30-day as a, hey, we can raise your coverage if you want to, right? If you're down closing them, but don't say that they can cancel their policy. And then don't use the, hey, we're just submitting this just to see if you can get qualified. Because then, so many people do that. And you're going to get chargebacks, because then money's going to come out of their account. They're going to get upset. They're going to call you. And then they sure as heck aren't going to keep the policy because they feel like you lied to them and took money out of their account. So I'm always super upfront with them, and making sure like, hey, is this coverage amount, is this sustainable for you? Like, I asked that, like, I almost give them a reason not to buy that high amount, to like down close them. Are you sure this is sustainable? Yes. Okay, perfect. Right. So doing those things, that's really going to help your retention.
Love that. I have a question for you. When you first started 7 months ago, how did you get your skill sets up to where it is now? Like, how did you learn all this stuff?
Honestly, I just unmuted. I got really comfortable. I listened to other people present. I kind of decided what worked. It was a lot of trial and error, and it was a lot of listening to, Josh present, or Mel, people that have been doing it longer than I have, to kind of see, what they say.
On the live Zoom rooms, and then the YouTube trainings, and just studying a lot, and then practicing yourself, and then just doing with trial and error, right?
Yeah, it's honestly like when you do something over like so many times, like it just becomes like nature, like second nature, So I remember it was so funny because, quick story, I was doing an IUL the other day, and I have not gotten into that. I do not understand what it is, but one of my agents on my team like does a lot of IULs, and he was like telling me what to say, and I literally am like, I hate this. And I'm like, after the call, I was like, is this what it feels like to be a new agent? I was like, this is horrible. Like, I'm sweating. I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. He's asking me questions, and I'm like muting myself. And it got me thinking, I'm like, dude, I remember when I was like that new agent, and we all are new at some point, right? But I was so afraid. I remember I couldn't do two things at once. It was like phone burner, and then the lead and the app, and it would stress me out so bad. And now it's just like second nature to me. So it honestly is like doing, the repetition, the reps over and over again, finding what works, saying what doesn't, getting your kind of groove to match like your personality. And to just make, the client feel comfortable, but it'll come. We were all new, like at some point.
And we were all started exactly where you were. I love this.
Yeah.
So this one says, do you use just CRM internet leads?
I do some like Game Time, some Happy Agent. I kind of honestly do a mix of everything. I don't do any mortgage mailers, locked out counties. If I'm being completely honest, I have one county locked out that I really don't get much from. It's like a couple a month. But my biggest thing is like, I don't want to be on Zoom presenting and selling and like running a special type of lead, right? Like, my biggest thing is like, what's duplicatable that my agents can be successful at and do the exact same thing that I am, and not have an excuse to produce at a high level. So if I was just running locked out mortgage counties and writing, $100,000 a month or whatever, then that would be easy, but that's not duplicatable, and that's discouraging for my team. So I run all the leads that everybody else has access to, and I just kind of do a mix of everything sometimes.
And the nice thing is you're proving that it's possible with the same leads everyone's buying and complaining about. You're like, hey, just get your word tracks better, keep practicing. Sounds great.
People don't really come to me and complain a lot anymore.
Do you try to rebuttal when they insist on doing it in person? What rebuttals have helped, or do you just move on?
Um, so when they say the whole in-person thing, I just say I blame it on COVID. Honestly, I'm just like, hey, well, because of COVID, going around, it's for your protection and mine. We're just doing everything over the phone. And I just say, shoot, like people refinance their house over the phone nowadays. And I relate to them. It's like, hey, I totally get it. It's super weird for me too. Like we used to go in person all the time with clients. Now they have us working from home because of COVID. And so we just do that for both of our protections. I can send you a copy of my state license. We could hop on a Zoom call if you feel more comfortable. But a lot of times, like they're fine once you rebuttal it. I probably have had, like, I can count on one hand the people that are like, I will not do anything over the phone, so it's not, you don't run into that too much.
Now for a question, sometimes I like to get rid of the rebuttals up front and ask like, hey, we will need these 3 pieces of information, your driver's license, social, bank account, and go over that. Is there any problems with that or questions? Do you ever do that up front? Or do you never need that because of your confidence and assertiveness, the way you talk?
I don't do that up front. I actually, when I started doing telesales and when we didn't really have a script or anything for it, I would say, okay, perfect. So we need your social and all that stuff. And like, it did not work very well for me. I was getting like hung up on. I don't know if it was because for me, that was just like really uncomfortable to say. But I think a lot of people was like, whoa, 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 I don't even know who you are. And you're already saying you want all this information. So I just do it as I go.
And just a quick tip, guys, if you do want to do that, the way that I do it is, I'm gonna give you an option. You guys pick out, tell me what you like, dislike about it. Keep designing it until it fits your needs. For that qualification process, they will need your driver's license, check criminal background, your social to check your prescription records, and your bank account to check for money laundering, insurance fraud, and also to take the payment to pay for the policy if approved. Any questions or concerns on that? They always say no because I'm saying in a confident way, and at least that's up front and they can't give me any grief later. So it's really up to you. But the thing is, she's saying it so confidently and so professionally the whole way through. I don't think I'd ever doubt it either. So I think that's great. How do you keep your number up from coming up as spam?
That's a tough one. I use calltransparency.com to register my numbers. So I'll do that. And then it's kind of, it happens to everybody. Sometimes if it won't register, you have to like burn the number and get a new number. But typically call transparency, I can get it to uncome from spam.
Yeah, that's an awesome tip. When you started, how much did you pay for leads?
I spent like $1,000.
Nice. Good way to start good way to start a company. Starting a company with $100. I don't know. You better go save up some more money because it's hard to start any business or any investing with $100. Here's a good one. Do you get referrals?
Honestly, not really. If I'm being completely honest. The other company I came from, we were forced to get referrals so much, like pressed, like I still have a little PTSD from that. So I'm working through my issues with the referrals. I have started getting some, like asking like, hey, do you have any like family or anybody that you can think of that need life insurance? And I've sold like some families that way. But that is something that I'm going to be putting more of a focus on and tapping into and kind of being more assertive with getting referrals than just saying it like a nonchalant way, just because there is like, that's a free lead, and so half and half. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I don't typically like push for it.
And when you buy your leads, when do you purchase them? Is it daily? Are you just buying one big batch of 2,500 for Thursday, or when do you buy your leads?
So I buy them twice a week. So on Sundays and then like Wednesdays.
I love that.
So what I'll do is Sunday, real quick, Sunday, I'll get them and I'll work them, Monday, Tuesday, half day Wednesday buy leads, work them Thursday, Friday. And then like Saturday, I'll go back to the first batch I bought and kind of rework those.
I ask you one more question. So your highest month, 72 families, which is pretty incredible. What's your work schedule? How many hours a week are you working? You working Saturdays? What's your work schedule?
You probably won't want to hear this. I honestly work every day. I really do. I sell Monday through Saturday. Sunday I take a half day off and I do recruiting. But and I don't dial every day. I'm working with the team and coaching and doing or recruiting calls and stuff like that. I probably dial for like 6 hours a day or so. And honestly, I started out dialing a lot longer. Like I started out dialing like 8, 9 hours a day until I got really good, where I could just flip a switch almost and I can write business, so then it takes me a lot less time having to, that develop that skill set to sell. I can sell, and then I can focus on my team, recruiting and doing stuff like that.
Nice. And then is there a certain dialing program you like better? You just like to use Phone Burner, or is there a different one you like to use?
No, I just use Phone Burner.
Okay. Awesome. Well, hey, guys, drop Erika is the goddess of telesales in the comments below.
You're so funny.
Try to drop some fire emojis. This was killer, a great call. I just appreciate you being a team player. We're all here to win at FFL. And I'll end it with this. Why do you think Family First Life is the best IMO out of all of them?
Shoot, our comp, integrity. That's the biggest thing. Integrity marketing, that partnership is huge. Our comp, the leads, the companies that we work with. We have a CEO that's trying to improve the company every single day. Like a lot of CEOs you just see just off doing whatever. And to have somebody that actually cares and is always trying to improve the company, like that's huge. Like we truly have like the best environment and best company out there.
I agree. Well, hey, I'm proud to be in business with you. I'm sure everyone on here is as well. Guys, if you guys watch this one time, don't expect to memorize it. Go back, watch this 5-20 times. It's one of my favorite calls. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Got some major skill sets. I learned a lot today, so I appreciate you being on here. And that's what makes us as a unit, Family First Life family, better, because we're all sharing ideas, picking up bits and pieces to get better and better together as we all grow and build our business together. So thank you so much again for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. Yeah, reach out anytime, vice versa. We're all here to win. So thank you so much, Erika. You take care. I'll let you back to work.
You're welcome. You guys have a good day.